Mathematics. Chapter 12, Statistics and Probability. Lesson 2, Measures of Variability. Learning Objectives. Find measures of variability. Use measures of variability to interpret and analyze data. Keywords. Measures of variability. Range, quartiles, first quartile, third quartile, interquartile range, outlier. Measures of variability are used to describe the distribution of the data. One measure of variability is the range. The range of a set of data is the difference between the greatest and the least values of the set. It describes whether the data are spread out or closer together. Example 1. Find the range of each set of data. A. We have a graph here, and on this graph we can see that the least value is 10 and the greatest value is 38. So the range is the greatest minus the least. So it's 38 minus 10, which is 28 minutes. B. The ages of Mr. Herbert's grandchildren are 27, 8, 5, 19, 21, 10, 4, and 21. To find the range, we need to determine which value here is the greatest and which value is the least. It's very easy for us to see that the greatest value is 27 and the least value is 4. So the range is 27 minus 4, which is 23 years. In a set of data, the quartiles are the values that divide the data into 4 equal parts. Recall that the median of a set of data splits the set in half. So the median separates the set of data to a lower half and an upper half. The median of the lower half of the data is the first quartile. The median of the upper half of a set of data is the third quartile. There is half of data lays between the first quartile and the third quartile. Key concept: interquartile range. The interquartile range is the range of the middle half of a set of data. It's the difference between the third quartile and the first quartile. So the interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1. Example 2. Find the measures of variability for the data in the table. This table contains U.S. Summer Olympic silver medals from 1976 to 2008. To find the measures of variability, first step is to find the range. The range is the greatest value here is 61 minus the least, which is 0. So the range is 61 minus 0 equals 61 medals. Step 2 is to find median, first quartile, and third quartile. From last lecture, we know very well that the median can be found if we order the data from least to greatest, and then it's the middle value if the data is an odd number, and if the data has an even number of values, then the median is the mean of the middle two values. So we will order the data from least to greatest to find the median, which is 34. Now this median divides the data to two small halves, the lower half and the upper half. To find the first quartile, we need to find the median of the lower half, and the lower half here contains 4 values, so it's the mean of the middle two values. Then the first quartile is 27.5 and the third quartile is 38.5. The interquartile range is the difference between the third quartile and the first quartile. Then 38.5 minus 27.5 is 11. Data that more than 1.5 times the value of the interquartile range beyond the quartiles are called outliers. Example 3. Find any outliers in the dataset. The first step to find the outliers is to find the interquartile range. So we need to determine the median, the first quartile, and the third quartile. It's very easy to determine that the median is 30, the first quartile is 15, and the third quartile is 35. So the interquartile range is 35 minus 15, 20. Step 2, multiply the interquartile range by 1.5. So 20 times 1.5 is 30. Now we will add this 30 to the third quartile, and we will subtract it from the first quartile. Subtracting 30 from the first quartile gives us negative 15, and adding 30 to the third quartile gives us 65. Now the outliers are any values that less than negative 15 and greater than 65. Well, we have no values less than negative 15, but we have only one value that greater than 65. So the theta 70 is the outlier of this data, and it's only one outlier. Practice question 1. Use measures of variability to describe the data at the right. Please pause the video and try it your own. The table at the right contains cost of video games. And the first step is to find the range. The range is the difference between the greatest value and the least value. So we have 59.99 minus 22.79. The range is 37.2. The median can be found if we order the data from least to greatest. And since we have an even number of values, so the median is the mean of the middle two values. And the median is 33.25. The first quartile is the median of the lower half, and the third quartile is the median of the upper half. So the first quartile is 27.1 and the third quartile is 44,875,000. To find the interquartile range, we need to subtract the first quartile from the third quartile. So the interquartile range is 17,775,000. To describe the data, we can say that 1/4 of the video games cost 27.5 or less, and 1/4 of the video games cost 44,875 or more. The cost of half of the video games is in the interval 27.1 to 44,875,000. Example 5. The number of countries in certain western and northeastern states are shown. A. Compare the western states range with the northeastern states range. To find the range of both groups, the range of the western region is 56 minus 15. 56 is the greatest value and 15 is the lowest value, so the range is 41. The range of the northeastern region is 62 minus 3, or 59. So the number of countries in the northeastern region varies more than the western region. B. Do the data for either region contain an outlier? To do this, we need to find the first quartile, the third quartile, interquartile range, multiply the interquartile range by 1.5, and determine if there is an outlier or not. We will do this for each dataset. So we'll start with the Western states. The first quartile of the Western states is 23. The third is 44. Interquartile range is 44 minus 23 is 21. We will multiply by 1.5 to get 31.5. Add 31.5 to the third quartile and subtract it from the first quartile. So 23 minus 31.5 is negative 8.5. There is no value less than negative 8.5 at the Western states. And add 31.5 to the third quartile. So 44 plus 31.5 equals 75.5. There is no value greater than 75.5 at the Western states as well. Similarly, we will do the same with the northeastern states. First quartile is 8, third quartile is 21, interquartile range is 13. Multiplying 13 by 1.5 to get 19.5. Subtracting 19.5 from the first quartile and add it to the third quartile to get negative 11.5 and 40.5. We have no values in the northeastern states less than 11.5, but we have a value greater than 40.5 at the northeastern states. Since 62 is greater than 40.5, 62 is an outlier for the northeastern states data.
C. How does the outlier affect the measures of center for the Northeast? Then we will find the measure of center for the Northeast region with and without the outlier, which is 62. Without the outlier, we will find the mean, median, and mode. And with the outlier, we will find the mean, median, and mode to observe that when the outlier is not included, the mean decreased by 17.7 minus 12.78, which is 4.92, while the median and mode didn't change. Independent fact. The table shows average monthly temperatures for two different cities in the United States: Antelope, Montana, and Augusta, Maine. A. Which city has a greater range of temperature? The range is the difference between the highest value and the smallest value. So the range of Antelope, Montana is 29 minus negative 6, which is 35. The range of Augusta, Maine is the highest value 27 minus the smallest value, so it's 29. Antelope, Montana city has greater temperature range, so the temperature in Antelope, Montana varies more than Augusta, Maine. B. Find the measure of variability for each city. We will find the median, the first quartile, the third quartile, and the interquartile range for each city. We'll start with Antelope, Montana, ordering the data from least to greatest to find the mean, canceling from right and left. We end up with two values in the middle, so the median is the mean of these two values. The median is 14. First quartile is the median of the lower half, and the third quartile is the median of the upper half. The interquartile range is the difference between the third quartile and the first quartile, which is 26 minus negative 1 equals 27. Similarly, we can find for Augusta mean. The data should be ordered from least to greatest in order to find the median. Whenever we have two values lays in the middle, we need to find the mean of these two values to get the median. So the median lays exactly in the middle between 12 and 14, which is 13. To find the first quartile, we need to find the median of the lower group. To find the third quartile, we need to find the median of the upper half. Interquartile range is the difference between the third quartile and the first quartile. 24 minus 1 is 23. C. Compare the medians and the interquartile range for the average temperatures. The median of average temperatures in Antelope, Montana is higher than the median of average temperatures in Augusta mean. Moreover, the average temperature in Antelope, Montana varies more than Augusta mean because Antelope, Montana has higher interquartile range. Persevere with problems. Write two lists of data that each have at least 15 values and a median of 10. One should have a range of 25 and the other a range of 6. So here we start. We will start with the median. The median is 10, and then we will add numbers on the right and the left. We need to make the total 15 values. Now, we make sure that the range is 25. 30 minus negative 2 is 32. It's not. So we need to change the largest and the smallest number so that the range is 25. Now it works. 25 minus 0 is 25 with the median of 10 and the range of 6. Now we will need to add some decimals here because we need to make sure that the difference between the highest value and the smallest value is 6 as a range. We learned today that measures of variability are used to describe the distribution of the data. The range of a set of data is a difference between the greatest and the least values of the set. The quartiles are the values that divide the data into 4 equal parts. The median of the lower half of a set of data is the first quartile, or Q1. The median of the upper half of a set of data is the third quartile, Q3. The interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1, which is the difference between the third quartile and the first quartile. The mode is useful when data have many repeated elements. Plenary. The table shows the total number of wins by the team that won women's basketball tournaments for the past 15 years. Which of the following statements is not supported by these data? Less than half of the teams won more than 34 games and half won less than 34 games. The range of the data is 10 games. About one-fourth of the teams won 32 or fewer games. An outlier of the data is 29 games. By finding the outlier of the data, we can observe that 29 is an outlier value of this data. 19. Refer to the table in exercise 18. What is the interquartile range of the data? The interquartile range is the difference between the third quartile and the first quartile. And we can find it easily. It's 4. Number 20. What is the first quartile of the following set of data? The first quartile can be determined by ordering the data from least to greatest and by highlighting the median and then finding the median of the lower half. And it's 7. Thank you very much for your attention and see you later.